Welcome to the Crazy Wisdom Podcast. I've got Guillermo Schulte here, and he is the COO at TGA. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Stu. It's a pleasure being here with you and your people.
Yeah, we got a mate as well. Do you have any mate on your side?
I just switched for water, but I've been having mate all morning.
It's funny. I just tweeted that I think mate has fueled the last 25% of my catalog for the podcast that I've done for the past 2 years. I've got 500 shows, and it's probably about 100 of them are fueled by mate, which is actually, I think, really nice rather than the coffee. But that's not what we're here to talk about. So I would love to understand more about your opinions and your knowledge on the upskilling of society for this coming wave of AI. What do you think about that?
Well, what's already happening and is going to be more challenging as days pass by is the reskilling and upskilling of so many people, professions, and in all sorts of ages. It's something that should worry us and move us to act as a society. I mean, now AI is boosting all this, but technology in the last years has been growing and impacting exponentially, and of course now with AI much faster. And there are so many professions that we read every day, and we not only read it, we see it. I actually see it in our work every day, how people need to upgrade their knowledge, because if not, the risk is real of being out of employment and not having this minimal needed skills to basically add value to society. When a machine can do your job or certain parts of your job, and maybe we'll discuss this more in depth, but today there are many tasks that a machine can do that weren't able to be done before. And we now at TGA, that's something that's in the core of our business, of our purpose as a company. We offer, and we're working on one angle to help on this side, which is learning video games. We believe video games or gaming, playing, is something that is in our genes, genetically written inside of us as people. We learned everything by playing. As kids, we started doing everything through play, and as we grow up, this evolves into different playing mechanisms, and one of those is video games. And video games is the evolution of playing. All of us like playing. Most of us like playing video games, some one type of game, and I personally like more strategy games or poker games, but other people like other kind of game mechanics. There are plenty, and it's a very good medium through which we can teach and learn. And that's how we are trying to collaborate to this global challenge, which is upskilling and reskilling. We develop learning games, learning video games.
It's so cool, and there's so much there. Particularly, I think I learned that Grok with XAI is now specifically doing a specific type of real reinforcement learning through game mechanics, because so far reinforcement learning has all been about text and inputs from like video and all these different things, and they're training the models based on human feedback. Now they're starting to train the models based on gaming feedback, so creating gaming worlds and then using that as a real life environment for this reinforcement learning. So there's something really deep to both humans, but also to as a principle of the universe, which is that something about play is really, really important. Like you see it in all species, you see it everywhere. So very, very good, kind of starting ground to enter into this. Now, yeah, go for it.
Oh, sorry.
Go for it.
No, sorry. We started learning as we were babies, children. Then the first grades at school were also very playful, and we started to lose that in formal education. But I enjoy many types of games. I also have three kids in different ages, and where I see them engaging more strongly and motivating themselves at school is when there are game mechanics uh, inside. It's amazing, and there's so much to do there. It's not easy. It's not an easy task to create learning games. It's much more easier to just read this text. And that, but that's not effective at the end of it, or it's less effective.
And that feels like what is going on with the it feels like what do you think happened? Why did higher education lose this aspect of play? There's the Montessori schools, which do focus a lot on schools. There's tons of alternative schools, but niche alternative schools that only a few sort of mostly hippie parents kind of put their kids into. There's homeschooling and a lot of things going on in the U.S. related to this change of education. But why do you think the public education system, not only the public education system, but like all of the nation states in Europe and Argentina, maybe specifically too, like they all started following this model of it's got to be boring. You just got to sit down and learn it rote. Like, what do you think about that? Why did that happen, and how can we change it?
Good questions. Some of my thoughts go to it's every time we need to learn more things. It's larger volume. I have conversations with teachers at the school of my kids, and they have a huge challenge because years ago, well, you had this curricula, but now you also have to learn computing. You also have to learn. Children also need to learn music and robotics and finance, basic finance, and this and that, and it adds up to a lot of content, and I think they're trying to squeeze the more and more content in the same period of time. You have certain number of hours in the day to learn, and that makes forces teachers to turn it more simple. I go back to it. It's not easy to turn to teach through learning. You have to think of a story, of emotions, game mechanics, badges, points, recognition, leaderboard, and it says it's much easier to say, just read this paper. Of course, the results are not the same. And that's a big challenge. And going back to what we are doing, or trying to do against this, we're trying to develop learning games that are very scalable, because that's one of the problems today. If for everything you need to teach, you have to create a specific game with all its story mechanics, etc., it takes a lot of time. Today, it takes a lot of time. So up to now, we are creating these games and enabling thousands or hundreds of thousands of people to play these games, because it's just in your fingertips. All of us now have a mobile phone, and that's one of the good things. It's not only for people who have a high education or many resources. Even many of our clients have target users or people with unfortunately less or not high access to expensive devices. But anyone can play learning games in a simple, cheap phone, mobile phone, and this gives scalability to learning. And we're also convinced, or we're also challenged to go further, and that's why we have been developing a learning a platform to develop learning games. And now, in the last years with AI, we have been able to upgrade and maximize the potential of this platform we are creating. And hopefully next year we expect to launch a platform that will enable anyone to create a learning game on any subject in minutes and without being a developer, which is a huge barrier today. We have a large team of developers today for creating each single game.
Yeah. And it feels like what's
we envision, we are seeing the future, or a future that's very rewarding for us, because we see that in some months we will enable thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people and different institutions to access, let's say, democratize learning in a more efficient, effective, entertaining way, any subject they want. Because, I mean, when we're talking about reskilling and upskilling, it's not that there's one subject or two. There are hundreds of professions and things that we need to be teached.
It sounds like you guys will have a great data set as well, because essentially with what you're doing with both the actual games themselves, based on what I just said about Grok, but also the platform to actually build other games, it sounds like you guys are going to have a great data set to understand and actually help these foundational models sort of train their data. And now there's all these interesting sort of new business models where you can do automated deals with OpenAI. Cloudflare has done a bunch of them. So that's just like a random thought that just came to me. The other thing that I was thinking about a lot was that there Duolingo. I've learned 2 languages now on Duolingo. I've been learning Russian for the past 5 years, and they do a great job of game mechanics. I personally am very not motivated by the game mechanics. I'm just very motivated to learn the language. But I recognize that they have done a wonderful job for the vast majority of people to get people coming back every day to learn a skill that's really important. So there's the game mechanics. The other question I wanted to ask is about synchronous versus asynchronous. I've been leading these classes every Mondays and Saturday where we synchronously teach people how to vibe code. And I personally like this podcast. I personally like this synchronous idea, but I also love asynchronous work. And this, what you've presented is essentially an asynchronous form of learning. Any thoughts there on the difference between synchronous and asynchronous learning?
Yes, I also agree. Synchronous is great, and like this in-person communication is key. We don't neglect this or reject it, but there's a scalability issue with this, because not everyone can have the great opportunity. I mean, I could have the immense pleasure of experience of being in the MIT and learning from the professors in Boston.
Yep.
Well, amazing. But unfortunately, it's not something everyone can afford. Whereas asynchronous learning experience on a cheap mobile device is something that's massive. So I think both should be in the learning pipeline of each of us. If we can afford it, or if someone can finance it for us, great. But if not, we need everything at hand. The challenge,
it's so big,
is massive. And even though if I could, I can afford something in person, but there are so many things I myself need to learn, that some I will do in one way, some in another, some maybe I have 5 minutes and we can do it. And of course I won't take a blame for a 5-minute learning experience.
Okay, there's a real, oh man, I feel like I'm forgetting it. So there's a really interesting point here about, meritocracy. Growing up in the United States, meritocracy is a huge part of our culture. This idea that there's through merit that somebody can pull them up through by the bootstraps, and I actually believe that that's real. I think a lot of it is sort of like marketing and everything like that. I'm curious whether Argentina also has the same thing. Argentina actually has a huge middle class, and that was one of the biggest things that they're actually one of the earliest countries to have a middle class, which I find really fascinating. It was, and so I imagine part of that middle class idea is meritocracy, and I love AI because it does feel like it is now allowing for true meritocracy to come out, because now it's all like, if you want to learn something, there is literally no barrier now. I mean, there's a barrier in the sense that you have to like texts right now, but that's going away because we have voice agents now. I'm now developing voice agents that I can send to people, and with a platform like yours, and also a platform like there's a funny thing that kids are taking celebrities and then using deep fake generators to have the celebrities teach them math. So like it's like having Shakira teach people mathematics, so that they'll so like that sort of video asynchronous, but it is going to get synchronous too, because I'll have my voice agent and we can have a call like this with a deep fake. And this goes into the secondary point about that whole thing, is that one of the things I learned with Crazy Wisdom 7 or 8 years ago is that the best way to learn is through one-on-one private tutoring with synchronous. Now, I imagine that even for the next 20 years, having a human being will be better, and I would prefer to learn from a human being. But it's gonna get pretty close. It's gonna get pretty close to having an AI sort of simulation of that. What do you think? Do you think the human is gonna remain important, or do you think it's just gonna become free for all for learning?
No, I think human relation is absolutely essential. Again, I wish we could all have a personal tutor. I think AI will get very close to that, which will be great. Some points it might even be better than that, because I mean, even the best math teacher in Argentina, for example, will probably
Yep.
be, or US, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
I don't. It doesn't care the country, but uh, probably an AI avatar will be better at math than any teacher, because
Yep.
he will have answers for everything and will be expert in all the subjects in math, and will be faster to answer questions. But then, of course, there's the emotion and eye contact that you only can have with a real person. But I think, again, nothing is a unique solution. We need many
All.
options.
Yep.
And even if there was a unique, a great solution, anyway, we get bored of things.
Yeah.
So maybe
Interesting.
we need a B option, just because the A got me bored today.
That is a quite a rabbit hole we could just go down, which is the boredom, learning, and novelty. And I'll set it up a little bit more, because I think a criticism I have of the educational system, and not only like the um, college or high school, but also advanced masters and PhD, is this addiction to novelty, where novelty is like this: the people need to publish the results, and those results need to be novel in order to get people's attention, because we as human beings get bored and like novelty, and it's actually like an important survival strategy for novelty. um but but based on everything we've been discussing so far, it feels like no one's ever gonna get bored again, and learning will just continue to be. I mean, maybe we'll have to develop a, solutions to, or develop human reactions to always having novelty, and figure out a way for us to like actually retain some boredom, or like actually enter states of boredom. And maybe that's where meditation retreats come in. What do you think about that?
Actually, boredom is something very important, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like the moments where your neurons like settle down, and where you start connecting things, and you can be creative and you start being creative. It's difficult to be creative if you're always consuming content, novelty, news, and you have to stop and think. And many of those aha moments come when you're running, you're looking at the river or a tree, and then you connect two dots and you bring something relevant to the world. Yeah.
And so interesting. And it's going to be such an interesting. Are you afraid of AI at all? Do you fear it at all, or is it excitement? What's your relationship to the future and AI?
I'd say for me, mainly excitement. I think it brings so many opportunities and possibilities for all of us. Of course, if we use it well, responsibly, which is whole chapter. But it's really difficult to think of AI in the, let's call it long term, let's say in 20 years, because it's so, it can be so different from what we can even think of. That it's difficult for me even to figure that out. I mean, we can think of what could happen in 5-10 years, but what could happen in 20-30 years? And that's a short time span. I mean, we will still be working and forget about our kids. It's us living in that situation. What will work look like in 20 years from now with the speed of AI development? That's why we circle back to reskilling and upskilling. Of course, there's many technical sides of it, technical knowledge we have, but then there's also the emotional side that's probably be even more relevant, because as AI becomes, I think, better and better at technical and solution things.
Interesting.
What will our role be? I mean, today, going back to what I see in our work today, thanks to some AI tools related to design, each of our graphic designers creates 10x what he created just 1 or 2 years ago. And that will happen every year. So, I mean, at some point, will we still need so many graphic designers in the world? Maybe yes, because maybe now we can have more design in the world. But the same will happen for every profession at an accelerated rate. And even my job as running operations, many tasks today I can delegate to AI. But there is still this emotion and creative thing that I see it's not easy to replace with AI. And then, coming back to what we have to learn, I think we will need to upskill and reskill, not only thinking of myself, not only in technical things, but also in leadership, in relationship, in empathy, in so many emotional things will be relevant to learn.
Yeah, great points. There's the part of me wants to dive into the technical sides, like what are the technical skills that you guys are actually helping people with. But then there's the graphic design tools, the specific tools you're using in order to upskill your actual graphic designers. And then there are the other rabbit hole is the leadership, relationship, emotional. That emotional part seems like the most relevant, because I come from a place called Silicon Valley, and in Silicon Valley, they're trying to automate everything. So they're trying to automate all the humans out of existence because it's essentially cheaper, and like they'll save money and all this different stuff, which all makes sense from a business standpoint. But it also feels like misguided in a lot of ways, because I think the human is essential and the human will remain essential. And it's that specific point you said of emotions, because I believe, according to neuroscience, that the emote like we as embodied observers, humans in a body with biological sort of backgrounds, we are observing our reality and we are interacting with it in ways that science doesn't fully understand yet, but also in ways that robots, like, it's unclear whether we can actually bring that element into it. And I was thinking about it earlier today. It was like, I still need to review all of the, not all, I need to review a huge amount of what these coding agents are giving me. And me reviewing, I'm the decider. Like, I'm the one who brings taste and discernment into it, because it definitely doesn't have taste and discernment yet. Maybe in a couple of years it will, but I tend to think that we'll always need to tell the AI what we want. Like, there's no way to automate that part out of existence, because we are embodied observers and AI is like a prosthetic. What do you think?
Yes, I agree, but on the same hand, I think AI is getting better
Yeah.
every day, every week.
Yeah.
So if you compound, I don't know, a 10% growth improvement in every area per let's say per month, per semester, it compounds pretty quickly into a huge change.
Yep.
So the things we discern and decide are going higher every month. Because before I had to discern on some basic things. Today,
Yeah.
many of those things I needed to discern and decide on a year ago, many I already delegate to AI. And maybe my decision goes higher, my decision moment. So, well, I'm not sure how long it will take.
So I'm bringing up a screen of a great graphic that I found on Quora many times. Can you see it?
Yeah.
So this graphic, for those viewing it on YouTube. If you're watching on Spotify, you might not be able to see, or listening to it on Spotify, you might not be able to see it. But there's essentially a circle, and then there's like a point out on this edge of the circle represents all of human knowledge. And what a PhD does is it basically goes on that little, trying to expand that little edge of the circle. And so there, like, this fits into our, this is probably a meme, knowledge to save my son's. Wow, that was heavy. Uh, um, uh, so, so basically AI is currently, well, it's still unclear whether it's expanding all of human knowledge or whether it can expand all of human knowledge. What you said got me thinking about that it will exponentially increase the ability to fill in this whole circle, of the human knowledge. Like, AI will increasingly get all of that. It is still remains to be seen, I think, whether it will actually has the ability to create novel solutions. I've seen some evidence that it can. Um, but there's still that aspect of human, and I'm running over the edge of my knowledge about, like, how to actually articulate what I think. But I still feel like the human, that even there might be a hard limit to entering the space of biological consciousness and, like, stopping us from there. But this is all, like, we're far in the realm of speculation now. So if you care to speculate.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't reach I don't know of course human consciousness and things only humans will be able to do. But regarding the limits of the knowledge, I'm pretty sure. I mean, as you mentioned, it's demonstrated already, but only from a statistical point of view. I believe one could demonstrate that it can do it because it can do statistics,
Interesting.
connect dots
Yes. Yeah.
in ways
Yeah.
that we haven't even thought of because of huge statistical usage of information in volumes that we can't even process. And forget about combining AI with quantum computing when this comes out
Yeah.
in a couple of years. That will be explosive.
Yep. and that is going to get it. As you were talking about earlier, it's hard to predict. You can't predict it. I can't predict it. Nobody in Silicon Valley can predict it. I'm still very connected to those groups of people, and they're having trouble predicting it. It's so hard for me to figure out whether the what they talk about AGI is, whether that's a subtle form of marketing or whether it's real and they actually have seen signs that this is really like we're here now. Based on the release of Codex in the last 2 weeks, which is a coding agent for those that aren't familiar. It's a command line interface coding agent. That thing is now solving all of my coding challenges with no problems in ways that it was not happening with the previous winner of that realm, which was Claude Code. And so it's getting harder and harder to predict the future, but it's been harder and harder to predict the future for the last 100 years. Whereas before, like I've been reading all these books about the Renaissance and the 1500s. In the 1500s, you could predict what was going to happen next, right? Like there could be war, there could be chaos, which kind of changes things pretty significantly on a short-term time notice. But in general,
level of technique of innovation was not so high as it is
yeah,
today.
yep. But what do you think? What do you like? Why does that matter?
Because I think there are so many things we can't even think
Yeah.
that could happen. I mean, we could think of, well, self-driving is probably something that will happen in a couple of years, will be normal. But I don't know, let's say teletransportation.
Yep. Yeah, interesting.
It seems impossible, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. We're advancing so much in physics and this and that maybe, and if something in that order of magnitude happened, that revolutionizes everything.
Yeah, all bets are off as it relates to the future. On the 5 to 20 year timeline, all bets are off. In the next 5 years, it seems like it's a little bit more manageable because it's only software, right? And this will bring us back into this upskilling and like the future of how do we because it feels like there are two main scenarios. It's either AI takes all the jobs, but if AI takes all the jobs, then the price of everything goes low, and then we're in superabundance because these robots provide for everything, right? Or there's a longer time horizon where we have space to not only because so many jobs, particularly in my country, are related to knowledge work because a lot of them were outsourced to other countries. And a lot of the physical stuff was being built in other countries, and so it like hollowed out the productive economy. But services and all the and highly manufactured goods are still built in the United States. But that could happen with like imagine like this a lot of the software jobs go away. Then we have a lot of hardware jobs that are available because people are using AI to do things they previously couldn't do. And so that feels like the two scenarios. And in either one, it feels like the price of everything's going to drop, right? Because we're now going to experience abundance. What do you think about this abundance? Do you think we're headed for an abundant future?
Mm-hmm. I am pretty optimistic in that sense. If you see what happened with us humans in history, of course, one reads the paper, today's news, and it can be good or bad, and there are wars and economic downturn, etc. But if you see the long-term evolution, it's undoubtedly positive. I mean, poverty is in minimum rates in history. I mean, maybe it can go up or down 1 point this year, but in the trend is going down. And I think this will contribute to reduce poverty, to bring some sort of abundance. I don't know how fast or not. I think with the intellectual work and services more, but also now the robots are coming. The humanoid robots and other kind of robots, they are just around the corner. So in a couple of short years, I think we will have massive presence of that, and that will also bring other costs down. Let's hope. A nice chart you're showing. Exactly. That's a chart I like remembering every now and then when we
Yeah,
say, well, boy, what a terrible year we're in. Okay, but let's open the.
you can't look at that chart and be like things are getting worse. It's hard to look at that chart, and that's the craziest thing about it. Because and this is what I was talking with. I interviewed a Argentine guy, a friend of mine, on Sunday. His name is Emmy, the crypto gaucho, and he's in the crypto world, and he's been in the crypto world for a long time. And so we were talking about this. It's just like there's a level of abundance that's coming that is probably going to look like this chart, but not just for poverty, but for like what kings had 400 years ago, is now going to be available to anybody. I mean, it already is that way, but it's going to get even more that way. And it reminds me that like the abundance aspect brings with it a certain chaos. We came up with this on the show that on Sunday there were like the Argentines are used to the chaos of scarcity, because things are so up and down with the economy and all this different stuff. But it actually might place them well, because I think the chaos from abundance, which is really wreaking a havoc on my country in the United States, on our not on our like physical welfare, but in our mental welfare. Like the abundance is causing a certain chaos, and I think Argentines might be like I don't think it matters whether it's chaos from scarcity or chaos from abundance, because it feels they're like it's just chaos. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, and what I also think is together with, let's hope this abundance comes. Let's be
Yeah.
positive. What that will for sure bring as well is a mental health
Mm,
wave of problems, because
mm.
I think we as humans, we define ourselves,
Yeah, yeah,
we bring some kind of value to
yeah, yeah, yeah,
our
yeah.
families, to the world. I mean, what in in the in the edge, what happens when doesn't care if you work or not? I mean, it's not relevant. What does this mean for me as a person? What's my purpose in life? I mean, it's difficult to think, and I mean, it's not something that will come. We are already in a crisis of
Yeah.
mental health
Yep.
today.
Yep.
So imagine what would we say about, okay, hyper abundance, but chaos and
Yeah, it's mental health. It's a mental health chaos. That's where the abundance in the United States has really challenged us a bunch, because like the whole 2008 thing was really crazy, because that was like we had an access to abundance to get real estate. Anybody who wanted a home could go borrow money to get a home, which in the American consciousness, like having a home and a car, those are the things that like that you've made it. You've made it. You've got the car home, you've got the car, you're there. And now things have changed, but it's still so hard to figure out what's going on. Whether it is like, but the inflation is also hitting the United States, which I think the United States consciousness is not as used to as the Argentine. So I think we're less well prepared for it. But it's mental health. It's like it doesn't feel like it's an actual like physical thing, and so there's this relationship to the internet. And this actually brings us back to education, and because the mental health thing is also an education. Are you is mental health an aspect of the platforms that you guys are building?
yeah, definitely. Actually, some of the games we have already produced are related to mental health. Actually, one of the games we're already selling, and any company can buy it from us in this moment, is related to mental health, emotional well-being, because most of our clients are companies, organizations,
Mm,
and they have many challenges like cybersecurity, compliance awareness, sales training, etc. And but one of them, very demanded, is emotional well-being, because every organization
yeah.
wants their people wants to take care of their people, and taking care of your people means uh, teaching them or supporting them or giving them resources to manage stress, organize their time, what to do if, with so many things that can impact your emotional well-being or mental health. Fortunately, more and more companies are aware of this. Maybe because they're nice and good, or on the other side, because it has a direct productivity impact. I mean, if your workforce, your people have mental issues, you're less productive. So,
Yeah, this is the crazy thing about knowledge work is that, like, if you're in the factory line in Henry Ford, then not like the no, actually Henry Ford, he thought about this too. Henry Ford actually was he created a huge like demand to work at Ford because he gave the best benefits. He actually did focus on knowledge work. So it did, I mean, not knowledge work, on mental health. Yeah,
at that point in history, the benefits he gave were
real.
perceived as real material, but also emotionally relevant.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a common thing, and this is like and this is the hardest thing to understand for companies as well. Is that like it's funny because they call it human resources, right? Human resources. The resource is the human, and I think it's so hard for people outside who don't think deeply about business to realize that it all comes down to humans. Like and if humans are not well with good mental health, it all collapses, right? Like and
No,
yeah,
no technical
yeah, yeah.
expertise that can do well without emotional, mental
Yeah.
stability.
And geniuses know this, like, well, yeah, this is part of the crazy wisdom because I think a lot of the geniuses that I've studied and talked with on the show, but also research, there's always this very strange balance between mental health, and oftentimes some of the crazy stuff is actually required to like Isaac Newton is a good example. I don't think anybody would look at what Isaac Newton was doing. He took 1 million notes on alchemy, like 1 million notes that he never shared with anyone. Like that's kind of crazy that he did that, and so there's like different things to talk about there. But I wanted to go into the technical stuff of the technical training. How do you guys have games right now that are for technical teaching people technical things, and what are those things if so?
Yes, for example, one is on cybersecurity.
Oh, okay.
Us,
Oh, cool.
we all need to learn the basics on cybersecurity so we don't get scammed, let's say. So we have a game we developed in partnership with Deloitte, which is a very well-known global company with a deep expertise in cybersecurity issues. And they are the experts in the subject, and they partner with us. They are the experts in creating learning games. So we joined forces and we created a very entertaining game where you play and you have to save. I mean, you're in the hero
Oh, cool.
role of an adventure, and you progress through levels, adventures, and challenges in a fun way. But you have to learn and solve cybersecurity issues on the way. So I don't want to spoil the
Yeah.
but
Oh, that's interesting.
you finally save who you had to save. You also get our certificate because that means that you learned the basics on
Yeah.
phishing, ransomware, etc., etc.
Okay, that's really interesting, and it's a very good use case because cybersecurity. It's not like a lot of people look at cybersecurity and think, oh, this is just like hackers hacking and stuff like that. But the primary way that people hack is through a human being. Like the social engineering aspects, they're getting so good on the internet. The scams are getting so good. I almost got caught by one on Twitter with an X thing, and then I was like, I forget what was the detail that set me off. But that's just going to get crazier and crazier with the deep fakes and everything like that. Sounds like I don't know if you guys are thinking about this, but you said you have a platform where anybody can make a game. Once that's out, maybe I want to make a game on um, how to warn older people, like send a game to my parents of, not my parents, well, not my dad. My dad probably is not going to be a target for this one, but most people's parents are going to be targets for deep fakes of their children, saying I need money or all these different things. Um, yeah, I really like it. So what other technical skills are you teaching?
We also have a game for learning Microsoft Excel. It's also an adventure game with levels and challenges. Another game we have is we have for different companies we work on training their sales force or their their employees on onboarding processes. A challenge
Yeah, interesting.
all companies have is someone is joining the organization. I need to have this person fully productive as fast as possible. I need that person to know the values of the company, how we behave, who to contact in case of this or that. What's the history of the company, where we're going, and we develop personalized experiences for large companies in Latin America and the US that make this experience very interesting and fun. It's not like you have to sit with
The slides, usually that's a slide deck. Yeah.
it's also relevant for our clients is that everything that happens in the game is a data point.
So cool.
The
Interesting.
visualization has we craft beautiful Power BI like data dashboards, so they can in the moment online, in the very moment an employee is playing and advancing in the game, they can know what has been more difficult for him, where he performed well, what opportunities there are. Are there some subgroups that are performing better than others? Is it a demographic issue? Is it a psychological profile that does better than others? There are so many things you can learn and not only improve the learning experience, but also use it in your organization. One of our clients, for example, is a retail chain in Mexico. And more than 8,000 people play our game every month, and we upgrade content because they not only use it for the onboarding process, but also for continuous education and learning from things this retail client needs, like processes, new products they add to their portfolio, new sales, customer experience trainings. I mean, when you work in a large company, there are unlimited things you need to learn all the time and improve. And well, they are a client for more than 4 years, and they're very happy with the solution, and they actually read and analyze a lot of data because that gives them many insights about their people. They can correlate then with each of these people's real life or real work results, like salespeople. They can analyze a subgroup of salespeople. Okay, how do they perform in the game? How do they perform in real life with their sales? Really needs to train the best salespeople. How do they perform in the game? Can we extrapolate and draw conclusions on that? It's very interesting.
That is very interesting. So the onboarding, it goes back to our knowledge management conversation last time we talked, because onboarding is the key knowledge management issue. And previously, I haven't managed teams before, and now I've just hired my first sort of part-time person. I've hired part-time people before, but I'm hired some part-time person for this podcast to help me with the publishing. And it's so interesting, sort of educate. It's because it's education, and I love being a teacher. But then it's also the documentation, like the huge amount of documentation, the processes, and it reminds me of there's the 7 Powers of Business, which is a great book. The book itself is really boring, but the 7 powers are really helpful. Let me bring those up. 7 Powers of Wilhelm. Yep, there we go. I got it. Hamilton Helmer is the guy. And the 7 powers are, oh, come on. Okay. Scale economics, network economics, counterpositioning, switching costs, branding, cornered resources, and process power. So those are the 7 different powers that any business can kind of own. And generally one business will have, 2 or 3 that they're really good at. and that the process power onboarding, you onboard people into processes, but processes are so crazy and this is where AI kind of is going to really sort of go into the process power, because in AI, it's no problem doing a process. I mean, it hallucinates a bunch. And so, but the process power, that's been the most interesting thing for me to train someone in, because I think I have a good job of a good understanding of processes, of how to make processes, of how to optimize processes. So it's been really interesting, this knowledge transfer that needs to happen in order to get somebody onboarded into a company. And I love the idea of games fitting into that, and particularly going into the platform. So for the last few minutes, the uh, can you talk more about the platform you guys are building?
Yeah, sure. Well, the platform is already today. We already have a platform with certain games inside, learning experiences. As I mentioned, you can learn about cybersecurity, sustainability, CPR, driving, safety protocols, and many other subjects. But we're evolving this platform in order to, of course, add more and more trainings and learning experiences every day, so people can learn, upskill, reskill in a more effective way, efficient way, because since it's more entertaining, more engaging, you feel self-motivated to finish. As you mentioned, a very good example is Duolingo. I mean, you start with the idea, yeah, I want to learn Russian, but
Yeah.
following as time passes, diminishes, and gamification helps you to stay up there. There are many mechanics and tricks like the strikes and notifications and reminders and and points and leaderboard.
Yeah, interesting.
So there are many game motivators on top of your original will to learn Russian. Well, in our case, the same happens regarding ESG or Excel, Microsoft Excel, or driving, or you name it. And the platform we are developing all of these games. We create them with our teams and designers and instructional designers and developers. But what we are launching in a couple of months is enabling non-experts, like I could just into the platform and create a learning game. I don't know how to code. I'm not an artist, but thanks to AI and to the of
That's
course,
very cool.
we have to curate. We select specific agents for specific roles, and we work a lot on the prompt engineering, and guardrails, and all of that. We can do it well, and we get great results because we already have created many games, and we know what works, what doesn't work, what people like, what people don't like, and all of that knowledge, going back to knowledge, is something we are training our platform with. So this will enable anyone like you, like me, like my mom, will be able to, or my sister who works in education in schools, she will be able to create a learning game on whatever subjects she wants. If she has a Word document or a PDF on, I don't know, history of the 20th century, you just drop it into our platform, and it turns that into a game. So
That's cool.
It will be really powerful, and the platform also will learn from players' experience. I mean, as you play one game or a second game, a third game, the platform is learning. As I mentioned, we everything you do is a data point for us. So our platform is learning how Stu is more effective in learning. Does he learn better with quizzes? Does he learn better with point and click mechanics? Does he learn better with very challenging activities, or is he a more collaborative guy? So we should.
Are there multiplayer games?
Yeah, we're developing a multiplayer
Yeah.
avenue as well. So we will be able to twist each game in order to maximize and optimize the learning experience for each player.
Yeah.
And that's something really revolutionary, and it's very motivating for us to work on that, because we're convinced it's not only a great product, it will not only be a great product, but it will have a huge impact. Imagine people learning things that they never maybe expected to be able to learn. I mean, if you tell me, Guillermo, do you feel capable of learning the technical aspects of LLMs? Oof, I don't know. I'm not sure if I could do that, or it would take a lot of time and effort. But imagine if you said the same thing, but why don't you play a game and you will learn after having fun in this game. That's really game changing.
That is very cool. The specific thing I want to do is because I do all these quizzes to learn all this. I do spaced repetition, and I want to understand I want to get more self-knowledge on how I learn best. So that would be very interesting to do that. Thank you so much for coming on the show. How can people find out more about you and TGA?
Well, thank you for inviting me. Our website is tgacompany.com. Best place is finding us there, or you can find us on Instagram as well, TGA Entertainment, LinkedIn as well. Welcome to have a chat with anyone who's interested in this experience to bring better learning for as many people as possible.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stuart.